see it?
Yeah, like.
Well, the good thing is we teach things by concepts. So pretty much any guy that plays in our secondary could play the star position. We got corners who can play the star. We got safeties who can play the star. Actually, in the spring, you know, because of the way we practice on both fields, sometimes you might get a little short on numbers in the secondary. When we went with the threes, I made Malcolm Parrish play the star, Aaron Davis played the star, Quincy Malger played it, and Dom Sanders. So right there's 4 guys that we could put them out there to play the star at any point in time, and they know exactly what to do.
Can Floyd play that position?
Sure.
Is that something you're looking at?
He'll play it some.
Coach, in terms of that DB room and the guys you signed in this past class, how do you feel like you changed there? How do you feel like you're trending there?
Well, we got some bigger men. Got some bigger men in there. Got a lot of guys that's got really good ball skills. We'll see how camp progresses. You know, the one thing that we don't want to do with anybody in this freshman class is we definitely don't want to create unrealistic expectations. You know, our goal is for those guys to just do their best every day. And as a fan base, sometimes when you start recruiting a lot of really good football players, you know, you put these expectations out there, and the reality of it is you know, there's not a whole lot of true freshmen that play anywhere across the league. Every year, you know, a few teams have 2 or 3, and I'm sure we'll have 2 or 3 this year. You know, probably if you're playing with a whole lot of true freshmen, you're probably not very good.
You already mentioned Jake Gaines. How much can his experience at UAB be beneficial to you guys this year?
Well, I think any time that you've kind of been in the war, so to speak, it brings value, you know, to the program. He's actually done it. He's played against some SEC schools, and you can see it. He's very mature. He's a good leader. The guys respect him. It didn't take him very long to kind of grasp our defense, and I think he's a good leader for the room.
One thing Coach Rick mentioned about Gaines was his IQ and his ability to really study the game. How have you seen him off the field in his preparation? Well,
you know, and it's not just Jake; it's the whole linebacker room. They've done a really nice job for us. They're the quarterbacks of our defense. They got to make the calls. They got to see the formations. If they can't communicate, we can't function. And those guys, you know, not only Jake, Timmy Kimbrough, Reggie Carter, and even the young guys, they've done a good job teaching those guys. Ryan Rankin's done a good job in there to kind of help the young guys. And you know, really this summer, I didn't see it. Okay, but you know, listening to the older guys talk about it, you know, they said they went on both fields, and basically, you know, went 3 periods a day for 3 days a week, and just functioned like a practice on their own.
You guys have hired a lot of support staff in football office in particular, and on both sides of the ball. It's hard not to notice that you've had relationships with a lot of people that have been hired and everything. How do you feel about the kind of level of influence that Coach Rick has given you, you know, kind of in not just the defense, but, you know, the process of getting the team ready? Do you feel like you've been given a lot of that responsibility or a lot of influence, you know, on
No, not really. We've got one boss around here, and that's Coach Rick. You know, as a head coach, you know, your assistants kind of help make who you are. And when you sit in a room and you start saying, hey, who's some names, who's some guys we can bring up? It's no different when we were at Alabama. You know, we got ready to hire somebody there. They asked around the room, does anybody know anybody? Same thing at Florida State. Same thing when I was at Plainview High School. That's kind of